Hi, welcome to Colorado Cinema Spotlight. I'm David Rasmussen with the Pikes Peak Library District. I'm here today, glad to be with Cougar Littlefield, Colorado filmmaker. Welcome.
Thank
Cougar.
you. Thank you.
Cougar, why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about yourself as we get started here. Later in this show, we'll look at some of his clips. Go ahead.
I grew up, my mom's a photographer, so I kind of was around at least images and grew up with that. And my parents back in the 80s got a video cassette recorder. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we got it, and we would do magic tricks with it. My older brother and sister would do magic tricks. You know, you'd appear and then you turn off the record button and then you disappear. And so as a little kid, I found that fascinating. And eventually I started using my toys to do like stop-start animation. That went into high school when I realized that we could hook up our two VCRs together, put a DVD, CD player in between it, and use that as a soundtrack. So I could actually edit kind of in a really home studio-esque way my friends' videos. This was really before YouTube or anything. Mm-hmm. Or before really even consumer computer editing programs. So did that, and then decided everyone was telling me to go to college for film, and I did, and I went to a university, but the certain university just wasn't my style. They just weren't the direction I wanted to go with it, so I gave it a year, and then after that, just got a degree in communications. And basically decided I wasn't really sure about film, if I wanted to go that route or not. So then actually about like 4 years ago, I started to think back. I graduated and I kind of missed it. And I was like, oh, you know, I want to get back into it. So then kind of self-taught myself again, teaching, getting friends around me and colleagues who knew a lot of the technical stuff because I don't know the technique. So trying to glean the technique off of that. And doing things like the Boulder 24-hour shootout and the Cheyenne shootout. I did a contest for Sony Pictures, and doing those type of contests were kind of my film school as I'm learning and growing. Wow. Which kind of leads me to kind of where I'm at now with these 24-hour festivals.
Are there any filmmakers that kind of inspired you to do this sort of work, or work you admire?
I mean, for just personally, for all my style, I'm really honing in. I glean a lot from the Coen brothers. I just love their quirky characters. They have this reality that they just slightly twist just enough to make it entertaining, but not really reality. And I love that. And I try to kind of dig in my characters, dig them into that degree. And I really like Tarantino. Obviously, I'm kind of that generation of Tarantinoites. As we kind of will talk about the clips later on with the one shot, I was inspired by Altman, who in The Player did one long shot. I saw that in college and was mesmerized by the fact that, you know, you have this one long shot and it's entertaining, it's in film, and you're like watching a play but you're not, and everything's happening. And I like producing, and I like putting pieces together. So something about that really kind of spoke to me. Yeah. And I love also, I mean, a lot of people aren't his fans, especially now, but I still like M. Night. I like the twists at the end. I am a sucker for twists. Something about it. I just like taking something and kind of flipping it on its head at the last minute.
Okay,
that shows up a lot.
That's great. That's great lead-in. I mean, I think people are already probably very interested in seeing some of your stuff. So let's not waste too much time. Let's get into at least the first clip, so they got a more idea of what you can do and what you are doing, because it's great work. Yes. The first one we're going to look at is called Sleight of Hand, I believe, and you did this, am I right, for the Cheyenne 24-hour shootout in Cheyenne?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. All right. First, tell us what awards you won for this particular.
That one won Best Film, overall Best Film. It was in the top 10.
Great, great. Is there anything in particular that you want us to watch while we're going through this? You mentioned it's a one-shot film, and I think most of the viewers probably know what that's all about. Yeah. Is there anything else in particular that they might find particularly interesting while they're watching it?
While you're watching it, it's it's all thematic on sleight of hand, a magic trick, and doing a magic trick. You know, when you're watching the magician, you're watching kind of for when the trick turns and the prestige at the end when it's revealed. And so kind of watch it as if you're watching like a magician, watching him unveil his trick. and you kind of have multiple stories going on, as well as watching, because it's one shot, we actually were also playing with time, bending and manipulating time. So you'll actually see past, present, even future kind of involved all in one shot. So yeah, there's no editing, the camera didn't stop, just kept rolling as we kind of filmed out throughout and the story got unveiled.
Okay, that's great, that's great. Is there anything else that you think people should look for while we're watching this clip?
Yeah, the other thing I really love to do is I love to kind of theme my films with other analogies. So most of my films, you have what you're seeing, but then you can also tear away and kind of pull out an analogy. And for me, this one was a lot about how filmmaking, we kind of are stringing the audience along. We're the ones that decide what you watch, basically. And so as you see kind of the detective figuring out what's going on, it's kind of like a writer and producer in many ways. We're just kind of a lot like convicts also telling their story to other detectives. So it's kind of a play on that, on what kind of filmmaking to me kind of is, and entertainment in that realm.
Okay, great, great. With no further ado, let's watch this clip from Sleight of Hand by Cougar Littlefield.
It's gonna be so simple. Just a simple switch, money.
Johnny, I lost a lot of blood. You gotta call an ambulance, miss.
It's on its way. Just keep pressure on it. Shut your mouth. Now, you want to explain to me how you ended up with a dying man and a dead man in this kitchen over some simple money trade?
Ah, the intrigue. You know what? I can't help it. I love it. Tell you what, take it back and read it over for me. Go.
Yeah, sure. Interior, modern Wyoming condo, mid-afternoon, in walks Johnny and Danny. And now for something completely
Different, yeah, I know, but it's a good deal.
Listen, Danny, this better be on the level, man. I've invested most of my money in this.
I invested most of mine too, Johnny.
It's not about you. We are gonna be rich.
Whoa! Wait. Now, how did they get this container again? Oh, wait. It's one of those geocaching things, right?
Right. In scene 5, Johnny gets help with the GPS to find it.
The coordinates, Sam. Use it like a compass. The closer you get the mileage, you'll stand. Then you'll find it.
Oh, that's easy. Now we got this, Danny. Look, here's a 50. You get back to work. Thanks. And then Danny gets the call from the contact with the money.
Yeah, we're leaving now. Yeah, we got the money. Yeah, bury it in the same place. We know. What? Yeah, we'll be here tonight. You know what? The container better be there when we dig it up.
Yeah. Well, there will be hell to pay.
Yeah, classic gunslinger shot. You gotta have it. The younger audiences, eat this up.
Okay, so then you went out, grabbed the container, and buried the money. But who's this guy?
Yeah. Who the hell is that?
That's if you look on, go back one page here. I think he's right. Who's this?
I think he buried the money.
Two birds and one stone.
What?
Two birds and one stone.
Listen, the deal was fair, okay?
Do you like magic?
What?
Do you like magic? You know, sleight of hand, disappearing coins, changing cards.
Listen, buddy, we don't want any trouble, okay? You got your money, that's where it ends.
You're not listening. Now, do you like magic? You see, the object of the magician is to distract his audience while he flips the trick. He plays his own fate. Do you believe in fate?
Listen, I don't know what your game is, okay, but it's getting out of control.
Do you play your own fate?
Okay, screw you, buddy!
And then Johnny pulls the gun from his pants.
You do.
Wait. On scene 10, Johnny doesn't shoot the stranger. See here, okay. Scene 10, interior kitchen, late afternoon. Detective Brown and Turner look over the evidence.
And would you look at this? It's a .45 caliber casing. The same casing from the stranger's gun.
Danny was shot with a 22 though, not a 45.
They matched the bullets. Danny wasn't killed by the stranger's gun. Danny was killed by Johnny's gun.
Well, we're taking a chance on this scene. It may not make the cut, okay?
True. I hope it stays in.
Ha! Wow, you're cute. We're not making art, okay? This is realism. Now, who shoots the stranger?
Do you play your own fate?
Okay, screw you, buddy!
You do.
Danny, check him for weapons.
Danny, we had a deal.
What?
I have the money. Safe. Well, you got the container. We had a deal, Danny. You can't go back on that deal.
What? What's he talking about, Danny?
And then Johnny remembers Danny's earlier phone call.
Yeah. We'll be here tonight.
Con? You con me, Danny?
Yeah, Danny, how could you?
Shut up! I don't know what he's talking about, Johnny. I didn't do anything.
We had a deal.
Shut up!
You can't back out on it.
Shut up!
Bam! And the stranger tempts Danny into shooting and Johnny into killing Danny. That is a wrap. Yeah.
No,
What?
can't be. How could your partner, using the stranger's gun, kill him when it's loaded with .45 caliber rubber bullets? The stranger never meant to shoot you. Maybe scare you. Give him the container and the money. But you already knew that, didn't you? You were the double cross.
It was supposed to be so simple. It was supposed to be so simple. Just
Kill them both, take it all for yourself, huh, Johnny?
No.
If that's your real
no,
name.
no, you don't have it right.
Yeah. You have the right to remain silent.
No.
Anything you say can will be used against you.
Two birds. One stone.
That's just amazing. That was a great film.
Thank you.
We've got a documentary later. We're going to talk a little
Yes.
bit about the process of kind of choreographing all of this. So we'll do more about that later. But can you tell us a little bit more now about the idea for the one-shot film? You mentioned Altman as you developed the idea. Were there other things about it that you just thought were a really good reason for doing a one-shot film?
Yeah, for the festival itself, you have 24 hours to make a film, and it's in-camera edits, which means you're not allowed to edit through a computer at all. You can sound edit, but not actually edit the film footage itself. So I kind of like the idea of, okay, you have these barriers. How can you go outside of those barriers? And I thought, well, a lot of people probably aren't going to try one shot. I would love to try one shot, and I'd love to try and figure out how can you tell a story with different timelines interweaving, and different things happening all with one shot. Can you pull it off? And I did theater in high school, and so part of me still loves theater, and when you have to act and move set pieces and everything on the spot. So I love that idea and trying to figure out, okay, how could we incorporate it together in that? And then with the story, it kind of blossomed from that. I wanted to do a one shot, and then kind of had the idea of, okay, what would be the mystery? And I'm like, what if we have these two different, like, what if we have someone explaining the story, but really they're just throwing off the audience the whole time? Kind of like I said, a magician. Right. That's kind of the trick.
So you're doing all this brainstorming from the idea that you're going to do this competition and you're going to do a one-shot show.
Yeah.
When do you start writing? Do you write a screenplay?
You can actually. So the rules are you can have an idea in the screenplay beforehand. But that day, on Friday, they give you a list of different things that have to be in the film. So they know you didn't film it like the week beforehand. So you have to incorporate that. And you can just throw it in if you want. But some of them are really awkward, like a cowboy hat, which doesn't really work in our film. So everything's in there. And we had to get creative with that and figure out how to put it in and change it. So you do still have to change a lot on the spot and rehearse it.
And you bring your actors with you, and they have a rough idea, but then you rehearse. How much would you rehearse then a shot like this before you actually even get the cameras there?
Yeah, well, for Sleight of Hand, I mean, it was hours. I mean, it was just after and after. I mean, it looks very different from the beginning because what you're doing is you have to. It's the best way I describe it is like a dance. I'm teaching everyone how to dance in the steps. And so I have to teach the actors when to act and where. And then when they're placed, then I see, okay, we need this prop here, we need this person here. Well, the camera's right here, and they need this prop. So what room do we have to get around that? And who do we have free? So you're literally like making up this dance and you're just going over and over and over it.
Okay, so then you get the camera in there, you've got it roughly choreographed.
Yeah.
So then when you start shooting, how many takes did it take? And can you start and stop? Or do you get very far and you start over? Or do you do the whole thing and decide you have to redo it?
We got to a point where it was, really, I had lost count of how many times. I mean, we first start going step by step, and then we progress to doing kind of the whole thing, and then we'll actually put in a tape. And the nice thing is, because it's one shot, we can just rewind all the way back to the tape and re-record over it.
Yeah.
But, there would be stops in the middle, and I'm trying to direct. So in my head, I'm playing a part, and then I'll see something that, out of the corner of my eye that I'm like, wait, that's going to be in the shot, cut, and we're going to have to redo it. We turned in that film. We filmed it in Colorado. We had to drive down to Cheyenne, and we turned it in at the 10-second countdown.
Wow.
And I mean, and on the drive, we found out that our sound we didn't get our sound on. So it was soundless. And a movie like that, with no sound, people are going to be like, that's great art. It wasn't meant to be art. But, so we ran into a room, they had a little editing sound thing, and we had to mix it by ear. With just, I think, 14 minutes to spare. It was just intense. So
that's great.
It worked out, but tons of practice.
Okay.
Everyone's sweating.
This shows up great in the documentary that we're going to show later too. But let's see the other film clip because I think that's really valuable too to see even more of your work, and then we can talk about this further. This next one is called Real Murder on the Air.
Yes.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. And this was for the Boulder.
Yes,
shootout.
it's the Boulder 24 Hour.
Okay, and did it win some awards?
Yeah, it got Best Cinematography and Best In-Camera Edits.
Great. And in-camera editing is again.
This one's only actually 2 shots. You see the beginning, and then it'll cut, and then the whole rest of the movie is 1 shot. So, it's 1 cut.
Okay.
It was a good 1 cut, yes.
Yeah. Is there anything in this film that you'd like people to look for, or should be a special watchful of?
Yeah, that'd be great. This one is, the theme is very strong in this, that it's about the end of radio. The old-time radio shows like Green Hornet that you see coming out. Those shows and how kind of, with television and film, I wanted to play off the fact of it killing off radio. So even in the beginning, you'll see up on the wall a film of the famous scene from Hamlet, and how even film kind of technically in some ways killed a lot of theater. And so kind of watch for that and these themes. And yet again, it's another kind of mystery and finding out what's happening and what's going on. Another magic trick, if you will.
Okay, great. Here's Real Murder on the Air by Cougar Littlefield.
This is it, folks.
The future. Moving pictures. Our ratings are down 65%. We got no choice. We're going to do a live broadcast, capiche?
What? Lorraine can't even do 5 lines without fouling it up.
If we don't do it, the radio drama is dead. And the story is one killer idea.
Stay tuned after a word from our sponsor for the conclusion of our live murder caught on tape in our very own studio in KXWZ's Real Murder on the Air. Brought to you by Joey's Pizza, where when the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie, that's amore. And you know, that's Joey's.
It's okay. I got it. Thank you. Hey, how are you? Nice to see you. Okay. Hey, we should get going.
And now we return to the thrilling conclusion of our real-life radio mystery murder as Rose and Dirk Lancaster walk into the studio holding a gun to Lorraine Minot in order to frame her.
That was a warning shot, Lorraine. The cops will be here any minute. This is the same gun used on Johnny Too Tall, and this glove I'm wearing won't leave any prints. You'll be framed for murder. Now, where's the money?
I told you, Dirk. I already gave it to Rose. She knows you've been seeing me on the weekends.
I'm caught. It's true, Lucy.
Lucy?
I've been seeing Lucy, Rose, for over a year.
What the hell's going on here?
What is this?
Dirk, I thought you said you were rehearsing late.
Lucy,
There are pictures to prove it on the clipboard. What is this?
I don't know. This isn't my script.
Better damn well not be. This some kind of joke?
You sure it'll work?
Yeah, doll. She has no idea. We'll make it look like she killed herself. Collect the money on her insurance and run off. You can't act, and I'm a cripple. We can't get jobs in the flickers. We need the money.
Accident.
Oh, I found it. My script's on page 4. Dirk tells Rose I was jealous. I didn't want you leaving the station to work movies. I only wanted to scare you, but I struggled.
Hey, lady. Got a light?
Stay away from the silver screen, sweetheart.
How could you? Oh no. Daniel, how could you? You were the one to burn down our old studio. How could you do that? 2 interns almost died.
It was a late night, a dark night. The kind of dark night that makes a city cold. I was the fire to make it warm. Years of directing voices. Can't direct a film scene worth a damn. Needed the insurance money. The fuel smelled like death. The road to death I was now walking on. I was caught. He wanted half the money to keep quiet. Damn fool. Gambling left him broke, and broke means trouble. especially with Jimmy Fixit and the Billy Goat Brothers.
Now what kind of idiot hits on 2 jacks?
A kind of idiot who owes money, but it's money he likes. Trip trap, trip trap. Here comes Billy with a Louisville bat. This is from Mr. Fix-It. Break his legs!
When a dream burns, it goes out in a whisper, like the static of a radio show off the air as the fire loses oxygen. You hear the static crackle, but it's the flames you watch. A man can forget what he hears, but he'll forever remember what he saw.
We're all gonna die, huh? This is real. I mean, this is real. I didn't switch the script, I swear!
What gives? Nobody's here.
Alive, my ass. Damn! They got away.
Cut. That's a wrap.
Nice. Start.
Looks like a surefire win. But what don't get is, I've done it.
That's easy, son. Filmed it.
Okay, you know, that's a great film too. Another one-shot deal.
Thank
It's
you.
just fantastic. It's amazing. And such a different style though from the other one with the black
Yes.
and white and the different time period and everything like that. I really like the one scene where you're panning around the guy and somehow you get a coat on him and a gasoline cannon in his hand without us even knowing all of it. Seems like in a different place and time. Is there anything else about the film that you'd like to say at this point?
Yeah, I think we wanted to up the ante from Sleight of Hand because we had done that, and we wanted to see if we could actually work now on the cinematography. When you saw the clip from Sleight of Hand, we did some color adjustment later on. But before then, we couldn't do lights. So we really wanted to try on Real Murder. What could we do with lighting? What could we really do with playing with cinematography? Because when you're moving around, you got shadows. And so how can we move that around and switch that off? And we also really wanted to play with sound. I think sound is really underrated when it comes to movies. Not many people know about sound editing or sound effects and how much it can convey a story. And we wanted to play off that and then use that as another trick to fool the audience. So then at the end you think, oh, they're really a radio show. These people are really dying. Well, it's all been recorded, and it's actually then just a film. So those are kind of the big things. And, you know, we did have, like, we wanted costume changes right there on the spot. And prop changes. So we just wanted to overall just try and up the ante, which was a big headache, but it was worthwhile. It was fun.
It was amazing. I don't know how you can conceive all this in your head, first of all, but then actually technically pull it off.
Yes.
But we've got this great documentary or this little sort of supplementary film that was made. Did people on the crew do that, or how did you come by that?
Well, Sleight of Hand, we kind of got some behind the scenes, but afterwards we were all thinking, wow, this would have been great to watch. I mean, you know, even me, it was all in my head, but what did it look like? I don't know. So we decided that we wanted to make sure we made a documentary this time and caught it. So I had a friend of mine who I brought in as basically a behind-the-scenes cameraman. And he was, and he actually we actually needed him actually to even be in the set. So if you watch it and see a guy bring up a one-by-one of lights, LED lights, that's him.
Okay.
He had to run from using his camera to that position, then run back to behind the scenes. So we wanted to make sure to catch that.
So I think what we'll do is we'll show a clip from this documentary that kind of shows these actors, this whole process in motion, and have you do some commentary while it's going on.
Great,
so that,
fantastic.
So that they can get an idea of everything that's involved in the process of making the film. Okay?
Yeah, awesome.
So here's that documentary about, this is Real Murder.
Real Murder on the Air.
On the Air, okay.
So what you're seeing here is, obviously you see all of our crew and the cast and everyone going through this dance on filming it, and you have Drummond, who is my cinematographer, who's amazingly talented. He has the shoulder mount and moving around, and this is where we had to switch from Kay, the woman in the red dress, her scarring scene, and trying to move it around. So as you can see, during that, we had to cover up, all in one time, we had to cover up the motorcycle, we had to cover up the fan because that would be blowing everyone's hair, and then we had to bring in the lights, and then we had to bring in 2 doubles and change them in and out of the same exact trench coats, and then move around that scene and film it, and then as soon as they came out of it, then we had to get them back into the spot. So you'll see on each side, left and right, we had different cast and crew members having to rush in and grab different pieces and move different pieces and move people, and even the cast had to kind of really get involved with that. So now you're seeing what we did was we want a costume change right as it's happening, so as the camera's going around on the director, we had a couple guys, one on the coat, and we had to choreograph literally okay, right hand in, left hand in, gas can now, and then when it comes across, you have all that going on. Well, we also had to choreograph, you see the poker table go up in the background and people getting that set up. You see Dylan, our behind the scenes guy, have to get the 1x1 LED light to start getting ready to light up the poker table because you couldn't really see it. We had to get the old studio set up. So you see everyone kind of moving and zigzagging in between each other and making close calls and costume changes, and that kind of shows you the chaos of the dance.
It's just a phenomenal process.
Thank you.
You did a great job with that. You make it look easy, and I'm sure it's incredibly difficult. So where's all this leading? More festivals, maybe?
Yes.
Is there some other projects in hand?
I'm trying to really, I'm working on a web series right now that we're launching, hopefully the fundraising effort for it soon. It's called The Final Minute, finalminute.com, and it's 1-minute stories, all about actually the end of the world. And so we're doing that right now and trying to launch that, as well as I'm working on a short script to hopefully be kind of a fundraiser for a feature-length kind of sci-fi intertwined story again and kind of twisting film.
Great,
so,
great. Then, in closing, is there any advice that you would give to other filmmakers that might be thinking of doing the same thing? Or
yeah, I really have a huge heart for filmmaking in high school and getting filmmaking started. And so, honestly, my advice is anyone can do it. You can pick up your camera, and it's so easy now for anyone to kind of make a film. True Grit was just edited on Final Cut, which is the program I use. So, any possibility, just get your camera and go out there. YouTube, really the best advice I've ever gotten is just make film. Right. So that's pretty much the biggest advice. And don't downplay sound. I'm terrible at sound.
It's a big thing.
Yes.
Go back to radio, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Not really. Thanks, Cougar.
Thank you very much.
Cougar Littlefield. Thanks for joining us on Colorado Cinema Spotlight.